Alright, ellipses. So there's like my notes there. We're going to practice drawing ellipses. So let's talk about what they are. So I got my tape roll. The general idea is that if you look at it straight on, it's a circle. And as you tilt that shape, that circle becomes an ellipse. And the shape of the ellipse depends on the angle that you're looking at. Cups, bottles, any sort of round object is usually made up of a bunch of ellipses. So again, find some paper, some sort of drawing tool, and let's go through how to draw them. So again, just like when I do lines, it's more of an arm movement than a hand movement. And if it does help you, make a line through the middle so you can kind of compare the different parts. So when you do an ellipse, that's what you're doing, is you're trying to compare the parts, and it's going to be symmetrical two different ways. So you're going to split that ellipse kind of half and half, vertically and horizontally. And it does, you do get better at it as you practice. But what an ellipse is not, is it's not an oval. So here's an oval. You can see one side is thicker than the other. Now it's still symmetrical, but it's not symmetrical in two ways. It's only one way. So make sure you're working on making your ellipses have that line of symmetry through both parts. And almost guaranteed I go over the ellipse a couple of times to try and get the right shape. It's pretty rare that I get it done perfect the first time. So let's try kind of moving the ellipse through space. Start with a line. This would be like the flat, looking straight on, and then we're going to tilt it going down. So make a line. The next ellipse that you make it open just a tiny little bit. And then as you work your way down, try to make the ellipse open a little bit further, and then a little bit further, and keep opening it up as you move down. And again, if you have to go over it a few times to try and get that shape right, it's totally fine. Maybe play around with how you're holding your pen or the angle of your paper too, if that helps. But each time you're trying to change that shape to be just a little bit more open until you end with it straight on. So how many did I do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I did about 7. And then try going the opposite way. So now start with a circle, and then try to make an ellipse that's slightly closed, and then keep going down, closing it more and more as you work your way down the paper until you end up on the opposite side or end up in a line. So keep getting smaller. And then basically you're flat. If you want to do some on the sides, do it a few times you can. And then I did a couple different sheets too. And then this one, I would say maybe try the line idea too. If you go back to our first exercise, we did the dot to dot. You start with a straight line. It's actually a little bit easier to build an ellipse over the top of a line. At least it is for me. So I'd recommend trying that out too. So make 2 dots. Try to get a straight line in between, and then build the ellipse off of those 2 dots in that line. And that can help you kind of figure out how to keep it symmetrical and compare the space a little bit easier. And then if you want, you can try to make them into little spaceships, which is always kind of fun. All right, so that's the ellipse video, and then take pictures when you're done, and then get them into your